week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael New Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is The Magic Mike Show, episode 323. Mr. Somich.
What's up? It's a long weekend, dude.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no kidding. If you were been tuning into the Racing Dudes in the last week or two, we had a lot of stuff coming out on the YouTube channel. Plenty of you watching. We love it. To everybody who's watching today, I apologize. This is as good as we're going to look or sound. We are still fully in recovery mode today.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely wonderful time out in California. But, man, making the trek, and then I was at the track for 3 straight days, and then making the trek back yesterday definitely sucks the life out of you. I don't feel like a spry 20-year-old anymore, man. This growing old thing, it definitely catches up with you.
Boy, caught up to Aaron Halterman real quick Friday. But who knew? You know, if you were in your upper 30s and you drink a whole handle of whatever he was drinking that day, and you don't eat food for 12 hours. It's crazy what happens to your body, Mike.
The 3-day hangover proceeds to launch in on you.
It was a great time. Listen, we're going to be talking about Breeders' Cup, but it's Monday. It's like Mike said, we're pretty tired of this stuff. So we're doing a little different. Instead of recapping the races, because honestly, Mike and Aaron and Jared, they did a perfect job of that live, and the reaction shows. You can check those out on the Racing Dudes YouTube channel and on the Blinkers Off podcast stream. We're going to talk about our 3 most impactful moments. It's going to be a little different. We're going to talk a little bit more about the stories behind stuff and why we had fun. It was a really great time, and honestly, instead of talking about the best thing we saw, because this is involved, you want to just jump into this early?
Riders up!
All right, Mike, so we're going to start off with our 3 impactful moments from the Breeders' Cup weekend. This could be on the track, off the track. It could be a horse. It could be a human being. It could be a barn goat if you happen to really just fall in love with a barn goat over the weekend. We can talk about that as well. But number 3, most impactful moment for you from this weekend, please.
Well, I would put this at number 1 if I thought it was going to make as big of an impact as it should. I'm going to go with the debacle in race number 10 on Friday. I think we have to at least bring it up because it was an absolute shit show. The communication wasn't great to the bettors and the fans on track. The actual happenings, the lack of communication was awful. The back and forth we've gotten from CHRB has been awful. They now have released a statement saying, oh, never mind, we lied. The one did not rear up and did not break through the gate.
That just came out today.
Even though we've told you that for 2 days because that's how we were trying to cover our ass, which, I mean, you can't really even cover here. So it's frustrating. We saw them obviously scratch the one for no reason. The veterinarian made the mistake calling up. And then you had them able to put them back into the pari-mutuel pool, which caused even more chaos. And then they decided it's a purse money only runner, which created even more chaos. And then the horse wins for fun, screws over everyone that bet the one because you ended up with a terrible favorite in the 3. And in the first time I've ever been at a racetrack, you hear pronounced boos throughout the entire grandstand because you literally felt like you got to watch yourself live get screwed. Like you've never, you know when you're getting screwed, but then to have to watch it play out for 2 minutes in front of you was a kind of new experience for me. So, yeah, I mean, look, what should the takeaway be? You got to communicate better, CHRB. You got to do better. Just do better, period. And we need to find out some way in 2021 to have alternates on multi-race tickets because the people that got screwed the most were the pick 4, pick 5, and pick 6 bettors who all ended up with the 3 horse. I mean, doubles and pick 3s, at least you got a console payout. You got something back.
Right.
If you bet a win bet, you got your money back. If you bet exactas, you got your money back. If you bet the pick 4, pick 5, or pick 6, you had the 1, you lost. And by the way, you got to watch your horse run first in the race as you lost. I mean, it's just, you got to do better. So hopefully, moving forward, and I doubt this will happen, you should not be able to run for purse money only, period. End of story. That should never happen. B, you should not. We have to find a way to get alternates on multi-race tickets at some point, because it's ridiculous when you're singling against a favorite and your horse scratches and you get the favorite. It's ridiculous when, on a case like Friday, a lot of people had the 1 and the 2 on the ticket, left the 3 off, and when they break from the gate, they got $1 on the 3. Like, it's just, and it screws the people who had the 3 too, by the way, because everyone who had the 1 and the 2 are now piled on top of that, and the 3 pays peanuts for what it should have paid in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, to me, it should be the most impactful moment. It would be if we'd actually fixed the shit that's broken. But guess what? We're not going to fix the shit that's broken. So it falls to my third most impactful moment of the weekend.
Let me see if I can pull this up here, because I've got my own little story to tell about this race here. So if you're not watching live or the replay or listening, sorry, this is really tremendous audio coverage here. Great TV. Great radio.
I can talk about Dr. Tanks when you pull it up here too. We get set up there. Like, I was in the $10,000 BCBC. There was a ton of us in the contest room, literally running back and forth. You have to bet a minimum of $600 in 3 of the 5 Breeders' Cup races, and this was the last one. So a lot of people saved their last mandatory of the day for this race. Well, let's say you bet a $300 exacta, 1/4-5. Guess what? You've got $0 on the race now. You're disqualified if you don't run to the window, cancel your bet, run back, bet $600, and it's even worse because the 2 gets scratched. Everyone runs to change things. The 1 gets scratched, everyone runs to change things. The 1 gets put back on the board, everyone runs to change things. And then the 1 gets scratched, and everyone has to run and change. It was 4 times that bets had to be changed because you had to make the minimums in the contest. It was a mess.
If you're watching, if you look, this is the best photo I could find, and trust me, I zoomed in real hard. You can't exactly see it, but right here where the cursor's at, it's not even showing up. Damn it. Okay, this is terrible. My point is, as the horses roared past, at this point, we already knew, like at the top of the stretch, we knew that he was winning and he was going to win for fun. So we're sitting with Geist Paddle and his wife, and we're like, about the 16th pole, 1 section up, beautiful seats, amazing view as they come roaring past. I was so mad at this point that we also had that 20-minute delay because of everything that happened. I just stood up and just had a double bird and started screaming obscenities, laughing as I was doing it. I wasn't angry, but startled the older ladies behind us a couple of times. And then the booing started, and then it just was, oh, God. It was such a cathartic release. By the time we left, I was laughing and happy. I was like, whatever. I felt good about that, just like expulsion of the constant booze. That felt pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but if on the Del Mar AM totes you can select alternates, why can't I on TVG? Why can't you on ExpressBet? Why can't you at other tracks? Like, it's not like the technology isn't there. This should be widely available, and it should be widely known that it's available as well. It's kind of ridiculous that it's not. I thought you were just throwing up a couple 1s because you were celebrating the 1 romping home. It wasn't because you were happy for the 1 horse?
No, it was a different number 1 that I actually had up. Not the usual fingers that you see. My third most impactful moment, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and make a statement on this show that I will never again make a disparaging comment about Victor Espinoza, because he rode the giant killer. I know Gamine was going to lose no matter what, whoever was off the pace. I don't care. Cece's the horse that beat Gamine, topples the giant, kills the giant, destroys the giant, and Victor Espinoza's aboard, and it was a beautiful ride. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. Mike, I am never saying another disparaging word about Victor Espinoza on this show, asterisk, unless he rides one of my horses that I own, and then all bets are off.
So this is 8 minutes and 40 seconds into the show. You should just cut out that comment just so that you can play it back later when you start talking shit again. If you ask Rudy Rod, it wasn't Victor Espinoza that took down CC. It was Bella Sofia, because he came out swinging afterward.
Boy, Kitty had claws on that one.
Man, third best horse wins the race because of the way we rode him. Well, why'd you ride him that way then? It would be my question. Like, you didn't have to try and go crazy up front with Gamine, and they didn't go that fast up there, but we saw this a lot in the dirt races. The speed horse was off the rail, and so you'd see them 2-3 paths off the rail, and in this case, Bella Sofia causing trouble on the outside edgeway, causing trouble on the inside, and that 2-pronged pressure really got to Gamine, and she folded like a cheap lawn chair around the turn, and you saw CC just take advantage of it, sit in the catbird seat, and to be honest, man, if you were 3 feet shorter and lost 200 pounds, you could have probably ridden CC home here. Like, it wouldn't have been that tough here, because it was just the perfect trip, and all you had to do was go wide and get home.
200 pounds. How much do you think I weigh? Don't answer that. Number 2 most impactful moment for you from Breeders' Cup weekend, Mike.
When they brought out the desserts and Magic just went to town. No. Number 2 most impactful moment, Japanese racing. I think we got to at least
Yep.
mention this here with Love's Only You getting the job done. And we all kind of predicted, hey, Love's Only You could run well and run big and get the win. But I don't think any of us saw Marsh Lorraine getting the job done at 49-1 in the distaff as well. And we talked about this for weeks leading up to this. The Japanese racing is significantly better than it was. You're seeing a lot better sires over there. You're seeing a lot bigger fields producing better horses because of the purses. And I think they kind of announced to the world, hey, guys, we're here. We're here to stay. You had 2 winners on the card on Saturday, including in the distaff. Now, yes, it was a pace collapse, and it was kind of a mess of a race because of how fast Private Mission pushed Latruska. But you still have to give credit to the fact that Japan had 2 winners, one on turf, one on dirt over the weekend, which I thought was exceptional. Out of the 14 races, 2 of 14 is pretty darn good for Japan.
Well, and they sent 7 horses for 5 races. So really, they went 2 for 5, if you think about it. They batted 40% entering horses in races. Yeah, it was fantastic. I also love that it was Oisin Murphy that piloted Marsh Lorraine. That's my favorite European jockey. We all celebrated with a pint in his honor after she came across.
That's not how he celebrates. You need a lot more than the pint, my friend. You need more than what Aaron had.
Yeah, that's definitely true. No, it was really great to see that happen. And I also love that we all were saying Love's Only You. We were on the Love train, right? Love's Only You, Love exactly. We were right about half of that. Love didn't run terribly, but Love's Only You, we were really beating that drum pretty hard. So it was great to see that came through. I had heard some people who are international racing experts say that, in the world of horse racing, Japan is number 2 when it comes to dirt breeding in their racing program. I'm like, that's great, but how far behind is number 2? Like, are we talking like Knicks Go, Life is Good in the stretch run on Saturday, like close? Because or is it Marsh Lorraine Dunbar Road close? Like, how close are we going to get on this one? So, but I don't think the gap is closed, but I think it is closing a little bit. And I think that's really great because when we go to Saudi Cup, when we go to the Dubai World Cup, let's get a little bit more international flavor in there instead of just automatically knowing the Americans go over.
Well, and you got to credit the ride as well from Guada, the jockey who comes over here from Japan. I mean, that was very much a rider's race, and you saw both Warlike Goddess and Love send a little bit too early. My Sister Nat was ridden very well as well, but Love's Only You saved to the last second to hit the button. And there was a nice split, was able to get through there. But clearly the timing of that ride and the fact that he didn't panic around that turn was one of the main reasons that Love's Only You wins this race. So it's not just the horses, it's the jockeys as well that are showing up.
I'm going to read through the comments here. Dr. Tang's defending me. There's a long story about the buffet table. Well, that's not really that important. They just like to make fun of me for eating dessert. Somich called me fat once.
I implied you were fat once. I didn't call you fat.
That's right. You implied. You didn't explicitly state it. Dave says right there, flipping the bird with us. Yeah, there were a lot of us that reacted quite poorly in that one. What Nick says, Love's Only You. Perfectly timed ride. Didn't panic. I'm just going to throw that up there. Way better than Julian's ride. Listen, Brady. Hey, by the way, Brady, great to meet you, but I'll touch on that later. Way better than Julian's ride. Warlike Goddess. We won't talk about that. We will talk about number 2 for me is not Knicks Go winning. Knicks Go's connection, specifically Korea Racing Authority, because they've been the ultimate competitors. They bring this horse back with Brad Cox, right? We know the story. He goes to the Dirt Mile, airs. The plan going into that race that they had said is they were thinking about retiring him. So he had a grade 1 on dirt. They were going to stand him in Korea, make him the star of their dirt racing program over there. And then Brad Cox was a little about the Pegasus. So they decided to stay in training for the Pegasus, and he runs well there. And they keep going, and they decided they're going to have a campaign for him this year. Well, he was supposed to retire after winning the Breeders' Cup Classic. One more start. He's supposed to stand at TaylorMade. He's going to stay in America now. Korea's going to send their mares over. No. They saw what Life is Good did in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and said, we got one more left in us, I think. Let's go back to the Pegasus. So Knicks Go's connections saw everything that happened. They know they've got literally nothing more to gain here but more money. Do they really need it? Maybe. And they said, yes, we're going to risk everything that this horse has done in 2 terms in his brilliance, and we're going to go make one last stand against Life is Good. And if we get those 2, race of the year, race of the decade. My God, can you imagine that?
I can't wait for that. I was banging the drum to get this to happen in the Classic this year because I thought it would make it a lot more interesting. And the fact that we're going to get to see Knicks Go run once, hopefully at least once. I'm guessing it's going to be just once, but it'd be great to see more of Knicks Go and see someone else who has that elite cruising speed, which is something we talked about for the entire last week. Knicks Go and Life is Good can both comfortably do 46 seconds. And that's just there's not that many horses that can comfortably do 46 seconds and still get a 1.25 miles. Pletcher after the mile says that that Life is Good can go as far as he wants, quote unquote, which means that 2 turns not going to be an issue. Obviously did 2 turns here, but 2 turns stretching out won't be an issue, going 1.25 miles, mile and an eighth. So I'm excited to see Life is Good as a 4-year-old. And I cannot wait for these two to bang heads on the front end, because I don't think either of them really gives up the lead. I think you could have more of a Private Mission Latruska situation than a Knicks Go Modern Medina Spirit situation. I think you're going to have 2 horses that want the lead and want to prove that they can go and get it. And I'm not sure who can stalk out of those 2. I mean, maybe like we know Knicks Go can't really stalk, right? I don't. He's not going to be successful.
Why would you try at this point?
Right.
Just go.
So then it's Life is Good. We don't really know if Life is Good can stalk, because we know Life is Good's never faced anyone who's faster than him. I'm not sure that Knicks Go is faster than him, though. I mean, could maybe they both like cruise a 45-3 opening half mile and keep going? Like, that would be crazy if they were able to do that.
Who's that rat that we drafted in the first round of the fantasy? Prime Factor? Something
Mucho?
or other. No, well, that different rat. No, my point is, but so Pletcher's got to have, Pletcher and Winstar have got to have a sprinter and just put him in there. At this point, be obvious. Everybody knows the only way you have a shot is where Knicks go down. Throw the goddamn kitchen sink at it. If you want to win that race, do what you can and make them beat you for it.
Well, you kind of do have a sprinter in Life is Good. I mean, he's faster than Jackie's Warrior, right? So
he's a 10-furlong sprinter, yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what Knicks Go is as much as we laugh. Knicks Go is kind of a 10-furlong sprinter.
I'm just happy I remembered that his name's actually Prime Factor. I can't believe that. Yeah, he would. All right, Mike, your number one most impactful moment from the weekend.
Charles Appleby, my man. Dude had a weekend. And we saw this in New York as well. He brought some very talented horses over and was able to get the job done. We saw this up at Woodbine. And now he just kind of stamped it right in the middle of America's face here. And not only won the mile here with Space Blues, was able to get the job done with Modern Games and the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Also goes ahead and just takes down the turf real quick with Yabir. So
with nobody paying attention, he just went and did it.
3 major wins, with 2 other of his better horses scratched. Like, he had one of those just trial and trip, like a tough weekend with losing multiple horses. I think it was 3 horses at the gate he lost. Well, 2 of them he lost. One of them run for first, one only in one. And then having 2 other horses get the job done. And so, I mean, Charles Appleby on the turf was dominant with a capital DOM in those turf races. I mean, taking down 3 of them is very, very impressive. Thought all of his horses were live. And I think that, we talked about this again leading up to this. I think you're going to see a trend next year. As these turf purses get bigger in the U.S., you're going to see more and more of these international horses kind of come on over and see what they can do. And we usually would get like the B team. We didn't get the B team this year in these races. I mean, Yabir comes over, wins a race at Belmont, then goes ahead and takes the Breeders' Cup Turf. I mean, that's an A-level horse over there that just comes over and gets the job done. So I think we should expect to see like at least the A- team coming over here in the future, because these turf purses in America are only going to grow. Turf racing is only going to get better in America, which means that the purses are going to get bigger, the fields are going to be big, and we're going to see some big-time horses come from international.
Well, one nice thing about Yabir that I put, if you go to the Race News YouTube channel, the 3 stars video is up there. And I mentioned in the Yabir breakdown is that he's 3 years old and he's a gelding. We're going to see this horse for a long time. If we're lucky, as long as he stays safe and sound, he's going to be great. Mike just pulls it up here that Appleby won 5 grade 1s in the U.S. and 3 in Canada in what I think probably 9 or 10 attempts, honestly. Asmussen won 10, Chad won 10 for reference. He won 8, and he barely tried, and some would say he didn't even bring any of his A-stars. Maybe Modern Games, but other than that...
Space Blues is pretty darn good.
Space Blues is up there, but Appleby's got a whole string that, like, retired before the Breeders' Cup, and he was like, okay, these are the ones we're bringing over. I mean, I think about Althea and Summer Romance that went 1-2 all summer. They both retired, and he was like, I don't care, we'll bring these over.
I got it.
Yeah, no worries.
Hell of a weekend from Appleby, and really hell of a 6 months here in the U.S. for Charlie Appleby.
Yeah, Kevin, like I just said, these were the horses that won this summer in the U.S. It's crazy. My number one most impactful moment, it was realizing Friday night when I was going back, I was like, man, why was it such an amazing day at the Breeders' Cup? Like, it's the Breeders' Cup, and we've worked on this for months, right? We built it up. But I was like, wow, what was so different about this that I couldn't stop thinking about it? It's the first time that the current core 4, which is you and I and Aaron and Jared, the first time we're all 4 in the same area together. Like, we've never been all 4 hanging out together before. And I think you could tell that the energy that we have in these live shows, you put us in the same room together, it magnifies 10 times. And as I do this, I'm reminded how Mike learned firsthand why I'm not employed as an air traffic controller. Mike learned I was a little handsy when I talk. But it's we had so many inside jokes. We were constantly ragging on each other all weekend. We celebrated together. We booed and gave middle fingers together. We drank a lot together, some more than others. I was trying to make a list of all the people that we got to meet for the first time. Or at least that I did. So I got to meet Brady was there. Dave, Kyle, and Greg and Eric, they listen. Tyler, JD Fox, Howard, whose show I was on. So I got to meet a lot of people. There's a lot more. I'm so sorry if I forgot you. It's been a long weekend. But anyways, the whole brotherhood of the horse racing, plus all the people that we've already met, Dr. Tang, Geist Paddle, his wife, Melissa, just being able to hang out with everybody. It was a lot of fun. And it really reminds you why you do this, why you burn the midnight oil when you do, why you deal with all the bullshit on horse racing Twitter that you do. Because you get those moments, Mike, and it's so great.
It's a blast, man. It's just so much fun to be with other people who share the same passion that you do, and to be able to talk about the races and talk about the race setups and have it's just being back at the track with people who are passionate about horse racing and being able to talk about it with them and have conversations and help you get the horses. And then, just to have so many people over the 3 days come up to us and say, hey, love the show, love this, watch you here, love that. Very flattering to have people just say that they keep doing what you're doing awesome. Shut the trolls out, right?
We got that a lot. That was really nice.
It was a blast to be able to just have these people come up and talk to them and where you're from. It's awesome. But yeah, magic driving, not a great thing. We'll just put it that way. And to be able to talk to them about how they got in the game and what they like doing and who they have here. I love that part of horse racing. I fell in love with horse racing, sitting around a table with my grandfather, my uncles, and my dad, talking about races that were coming up the next day and how you got to horses and having arguments about the pace and how it sets up and making stupid bets. Now I owe people dinner at NHC because freaking Smooth Like Straight ran second. That kind of stuff is what I really enjoy doing and love being at the track. And it's amazing that people come up to you and want to have those conversations with you.
Yeah, Dr. Tang and I want to know where we're going for dinner, by the way.
It's an NHC dinner, so you got to go to NHC if you want to go.
Hey, that sounds good. You know what else is trying to go to NHC is Nick Feldman. He's going to try and qualify. Good luck. It's the NHC is probably going to be like Breeders' Cup on steroids because it's Vegas. So a lot less horse racing in person, a lot more alcohol and commiserating, and other gambling involved. Howard's in the chat. Good to see you, Howard. I gotta say to Steve, this made me really laugh very hard. I had to mute myself for a second. He said the Charlie Appleby's stat is so nuts. He's going to Applebee's this week to celebrate.
He owns a piece of that after this weekend, right? Gotta get an Applebee's chain and put it over in Ascot, right? Right outside of Royal Ascot, have an Applebee's.
Oh, boy. Jody says, how about Golden Pal? How about that? Boy, we could not have been more wrong about that race. Jesus.
That's one of the other really amazing things. I mentioned this on the live show after Saturday's races. The shit show that was Friday was really unfortunate because the performances that were Saturday and even Friday, I mean, with Echo Zulu was absolutely amazing. Then you get to see Golden Pal do what Golden Pal did. I mean, just broke like a freaking shot. Was super impressive there. You have the big wins from Life is Good. You have Knicks Go, who runs out of his skin. I mean, Broom and Yabir put on an absolute show. Love's Only You makes a breathtaking split. Pizza Bianca makes that whole, comes from last from around the first turns, able to slide through horses. There was absolutely amazing performances up and down the list. And so outside of the one black eye, it was great, but that one black eye is pretty darn big. And guess what? A week later, what do people notice? It's your black eye still. So
that's true.
But it was absolutely amazing to see all of these horses come and show out and show up. And then to see the two sprint champions that everyone thought were going to be dominant, and they got corralled at the top of the stretch and just taken out. And Aloha West was absolutely incredible. Really not happy that Aloha West was absolutely incredible. As someone
that one
hurt. All over Dr. Scheibel, that kind of sucked. But what can you do?
I was at the top of the stretch in the dirt sprint. Again, we're watching by around the 16th pole. Dr. Scheibel makes his. By the way, I got it. I finally asked. It's Scheibel. It's not Scheibel. I've been saying Scheibel the whole time. It's Scheibel. We'll probably say Scheibel again. But the horse took off, and I was like, he's gonna win. So I took off running because my friend knows part of it. I was like, I'm gonna go see if I can get in the winner's circle photo. At least give him a high five. And I got to maybe 100 feet away from being in line with the finish line. And I stopped and I saw what happened. And I just put my head down and slowly started walking back. I didn't even see the photo. I knew that he lost that. That was such an impressive move. And Wayne Catalano, after, the Phoenix that he was in last, his previous race, didn't win it. Catalano after that was like, he's going to the Breeders' Cup. We're so excited, blah, blah. And I laughed about it. I think I brought up in the show. I think we laughed about it together. We were like, really? I don't know. That wasn't that impressive. You're excited by that? He believed in the horse, and he sent him there. And my friend believed in his horse and believed that Jackie's Warrior was going to get beat and be off the board. He was right about that as well.
Yeah, it was one of those things where you kind of you watch after the race, you look back at it and you're like, yeah, no, this set up for a low West. I mean, this comes to one of the reasons I like Dr. Scheibel is I thought he was going to come from off the pace, have a really nice pace to run into, and you could make the same case for Loa West. I don't love that Loa West lost the special reserve last time, but this was a three-way pace battle early, and I think that's what really ended up getting to Jackie's Warrior. It was, Jackie's Warrior can do 21-4-44. He's just never had to do it with two other horses breathing down his neck the entire time. And I think, and then you also had Following C try and go right up the rail. And so all of a sudden you had a horse to the inside, you had two to the outside. And I'm really excited to bet Following C back if we can get any type of price. Go back and watch that trip. Following C got cut off bad, top of the stretch, or Following C might have won that race. If nothing else, Following C would have been right there with the two of them, was moving in lockstep with Dr. Scheibel and re-rallied after being cut off, which is often a sign of a horse that had a lot more left.
Let's use you in that pitch for Following C, and we're going to send it to Spendthrift Farm and say, this is how you guys helped Todd Pletcher beat Knicks Go in the Pegasus. Following C, send him out there.
Following C did run in the Haskell, finished second, sort of.
A very well beaten third. A couple more things here. Where was it? Oh yeah, Kevin says he appreciates you. He says, I appreciated the tournament strategy weirdo in the guide. Not very nice thing to say about Mike, but he's a weirdo. But he appreciated you, Mr. Weirdo. So
no problem. Yeah, it was a fun article to write. I think one of the things I wrote in there, and I think this is really a lot of fun. So I'm going to talk about the BCBC in a second here, and that's a $10,000 buy-in. And I wouldn't even buy $10,000 to get in that thing. I've satellited into it, and that's how I was able to be lucky enough to play it. It's a lot of freaking money. I do think it's really, really fun. If you've never tried this, you should try this. Go and read the rules of some of these tournaments. The next big cash tournament, I believe, is Pegasus Day. I'm sure Santa Anita actually will have one on Malibu Day. And read what the buy-in is. I think the Pegasus, I believe, is $6,500 with a $5,000 bankroll. Well, fix that to your budget. So play the tournament with $500 or $50. You could do it with either. And follow the minimum bet requirements and try that style and strategy. Because I think a lot of people actually would improve their betting if they followed more of a tournament style strategy, which is where you are not really boxing things. Like a try box is not a great bet in these tournaments. You're trying to hit things straight for a lot of money. I know Howard mentioned you had a $2,500 double. I had a $1,000 double that exact same race with Love instead of Love's Only You. I was playing $600.
Should listen to Howard.
Yeah, I should have listened to Howard. I should have listened to Aaron. He loves Love's Only You. But there's a lot of the strategy of it and pounding your opinion and passing races and then betting big win bets. And a lot of that strategy is solid betting ideals. Right. And so it would be, I think it's a cool experiment. I started doing this after the BCBC last year on some random days is play the tournament with a smaller denomination, just to kind of work out the betting strategy and style and see how you end up doing. Cause it's also hey, but it took $150,000 to win. So 20x the original bankroll. Turning $50 into, what would that be? $2,000? That'd be pretty fun. And it's possible to do in a day, but you have to bet with that style and that recklessness. And it's a lot easier to bet with that recklessness when you start with 50 than when you start with 7,500 or 5,000.
The Tyler Hoffman recklessness. I feel like it's nothing. I feel like when he bets, it's with this reckless abandon that is somehow controlled. It's like controlled chaos almost with the way he does. And I'm impressed by the way he does. I'm not knocking him. Rick Evans clarified him that right up. I figured it out. I just liked that you called him a weirdo. It was nice. For the second time, I have our best in the mile, and that says that's interesting. I'm going to try and see if I'm going to try and dip my toe a little bit into some more just small tournament stuff instead of my random I'll try this, I'll try that. So I'm going to try and see if you get another person hooked on this one. Was there anything else BCBC wise that you wanted to talk? I know you were kind of leading that way. I didn't want to step over if you had more thoughts to go with.
I mean, personally, this was probably one of the most frustrating weekends of my life. As ridiculous as that sounds, the entire weekend.
Well, that's a great show.
My whole plan was to bet a lot of money on Knicks Go. And I bet a lot of money on Knicks Go with my own money. But the fact that all I needed to be was at 40,000 to win the BCBC. Because if I shoved 40,000 on Knicks Go, which I was completely ready to do, I win the tournament. And it's a $500,000 weekend. And there's just not that many times that the final note of a tournament, you'll always learn, is the note that matters the most. Right, that's when people just skyrocket up the leaderboard. If you have the 3-1 winner in the last race, you have a very good shot of winning the tournament. And there's only so many times, that you're going to have the chance of winning one of these tournaments. And when you have the winner in the last and you get a price like 3-1, it can be awfully frustrating. Like I definitely replayed those couple days in my head a lot of times because I knew at the end all I had to do was get the 40K and I would have won the damn thing. So, and then if you're following the Somobombs, that late pick 5 was brutal. Like losing with Dr. Shivel, losing the photo with L11, and Broom not getting home. The combination of those three made a very frustrating 3 races. But luckily, I bet a degenerate amount on Knicks Go, and it made up for that.
I got home and told Celeste, I was like, for the entire weekend, 14 races, I bet 12 of them. I didn't bet the 2 dirt ones on Friday. I said I hit 2, and I turned a profit. And that's all because of maximizing and pressing your opinions, which was life is good, Jackie's word, life is good and Knicks Go. And we profited using the live bankroll guide that was in the live bankroll article in the guide rather that Aaron and Jared put together. You profited because you pressed your 2 big opinions there. So it was nice to kind of like keep putting your money where your mouth is, quite literally at the track. It's like we would keep hyping on those horses. Here's fat stacks and we profit.
Yeah, and it was the only illogical horse all weekend to me was the Japanese horse that won the distaff. I mean, outside of that, I thought every horse was gettable. Yabir would have been a little tough for me personally, but at that point, if you're not playing every Appleby, I guess you could make a case that that's not smart. So, but outside of that, I thought that it was logical results. It was just whether you were right or you're wrong. And, I would have preferred a couple photos to go a different direction. But again, like Aloha West was logical when you went back and look at it. If the pace melts down, that's one of the horses that could definitely get the job done. And I kind of felt like there was a pace meltdown coming. That's why I was sitting out there playing a couple of the closers. So it's not like the result there is illogical. The photo sucked, but the result at least was one that you can go back and say, yeah, okay, I get that. The Japanese distaff winner,
Yeah. I the only way I've thought about that a lot is like the only way I've gotten there is if I convince myself, we were all pretty convinced the Truska was going to win. I would have had to say she's going to lose, we were all convinced she's going to lose. Yeah. And I would have said, I have no idea who does it or how it happens. So then I hit the all button but Latruska. Like, I think that's the only way I get to that is I say someone's going to beat her. I don't know who and I don't know how. Just going to press that opinion. Maybe leave off Latruska and like who the second choice is maybe. But that's the only way I could have done to Marsh Lorraine.
You could have gone, I'm only going to play the 5 closers. And that would have been the 2, 3, 5, 10, 11. Because she was off the pace in Japan, and the pace is generally slower in Japan. So you could have said, I'm just going to play the 5 closers. My dumbass had the 4 closers and left the Japanese horse off, which is freaking great. Love that.
Oh, man.
That you could have made the case, hey, I'm just going to play the 5 closers. But that would have been, I think, the only way I would have gotten there. I guess I could have been one more deep and we would have been there. But it's hard to put that type of horse on there, especially when you're already like, I'm chucking Latruska from the try. Like, can I put this bomb Japanese horse in that I saw run and it was like, yeah, okay, but I'm not really sure how good it's faced. And yeah, that's tough.
Let's see. Was there anything?
Yeah, I agree with this too. I was all in the BCBC on Malthat, and I thought Malthat was going to win by 5 lengths around the turn because you already had the top 5 just backing straight up, and I don't think she got a bad trip. I think she was definitely in traffic, but the 10 got a jump on her, the 2 got the jump on her, the 11 guy got the jump on her, and then she kind of ground home, which was the biggest knock on Malthat, is that she's kind of a grinder, and she was just kind of outground in this situation. So I thought that Malthat was just gone around that top of that turn.
Yeah, that was a pretty disappointing one. I was looking to see if there was news about if she was going to keep racing and keep trying again as a 4-year-old. Anyways, this was a great weekend. Lots more to talk about. If you want to hear more, like I said, Aaron, Jared, and Mike did excellent jobs recapping Friday and Saturday. So go to the Racing Dudes YouTube channel, go to the Blinkers Off podcast channel. That's there as well. Mike, we're going to switch gears because, horse racing is going to take a little bit of time off, at least as far as we're concerned. We got Monday Night Football tonight, and we have the Chicago Bears at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm very curious of what you're thinking about here, and you probably did a 6-pack. I'll be honest, I was a little too buried with the Breeders' Cup to take a look, but let me know how the betting's going for you.
Yeah, no, definitely did not do a 6-pack this week. I usually write it on Friday, and it's like I'm not going to write it on Friday on Breeders' Cup.
Not this week.
There's 0 chance, and I'm not going to put it out on Thursday because you don't have enough injury information with all the COVID and everything else that's going on. And so I decided not to do it this week. Betting went okay. I went 1-1 yesterday. I didn't bet a lot because I was flying home on a plane and exhausted and all that jazz. For tonight, I'm on the Bears already. I think 7 points is too much, but I'm I've been a Big Ben defector the entire year. So I would lean toward the Bears here. I think they're going to be able to move the football. I'm going to take the points. I think it's just too much. Oop, Magic, you're muted, or you unplugged yourself. You're muted. Okay, go ahead.
Amateur hour over here. Sorry. No, I was trying to clear my throat. Forgot. Papa Dude has the free pick of, you can check out the whole write-up here at racingnews.com/sports. Also, their top 25 for the college football, how they see college football going. And, of course, in just under an hour and 53 minutes exactly, Dudes Who Bet Sports will be taking a look at the weekend that was and leading you into Monday Night Football. I love it. There's always a great Papa Dude rant. Last time it was about potato chips. I can't wait to see what it is this week. The Papa Do potato chip rant is it's an all-timer for me.
I do want to back the horse racing real quick. I do want to bring up this one. Just a quick question about, was the rail dead on the dirt? I don't know. It was awfully interesting to see the number of horses that went 3 wide around the turn on the lead, which would lead me to say probably. Just because generally the best way to figure out if a rail is dead is where are the smart jockeys? And when Knicks Go is 3 off the rail going into the stretch, when Life is Good is 2 to 3 off the rail going into the stretch, when Jackie's Warrior and when Latrusca leave room on the inside going into the turn, that tells me that maybe the turn or the inside is not the place to be. And it makes a tough decision for other horses. Like Following C decides to go up the rail instead of going 4 wide, right? And you even see, I felt that maybe the reason why Dunbar Road didn't win is Dunbar Road was inside of the 10 horse. And I was kind of pissed if Velasquez didn't take Maleth that wide, because I think Maleth that would have probably run better if Maleth had gone wide. So I think that the rail probably was not the place that you wanted to be, especially on Saturday, based on the way the jockeys were riding.
It's funny because Saturday morning, race 2, Tiz the Magician in the Breeders' Cup Marathon, got second. And in that race, he set the pace. Pratt was easily 3 lanes off the whole way around until Lone Rock came and got him. Lone Rock was wider, trying to stay clear. And at the time, I asked, should we read into that? Should we read into the fact that Pratt on his track was trying to do that? And kind of idea was, well, I felt like he was trying to bait Lone Rock to come inside so we could pressure him. What if he was trying to bait him inside because it was dead? What if he was trying to bait him inside just to slow him down a little bit? At that point, it probably would have been a gross overreaction because it was a 5-horse race going a mile and way too freaking long. But you're right. As the day went along, you kind of saw how things progressed there. That's a really great point. I'm glad you went back to that one.
Yeah, I think a lot of times you see people trying to force horses. Hey, if I want to be 3 wide, you got to go 4 wide or 5 wide to get around me. And the Hot Rod Charlie, another great example. I mean, Hot Rod Charlie, if you saw in that race, both Hot Rod Charlie and Essential Quality, really, who were inside of Knicks Go and Medina Spirit, they were laboring a little bit more. Medina Spirit was coming home with a little more gusto than Essential Quality. And I think very few people expected that Medina Spirit would be the one closing in on Knicks Go, not Essential Quality. You'd think so maybe the track had something to do with that. I mean, just no one was touching Knicks Go no matter how they went after that opening half mile. Once he didn't face any pressure from Medina Spirit, it was just game over. But yeah, I think the outside was definitely the place to be on Saturday.
Oh shoot, what was I gonna say? Damn it, I had something good and I forgot it. Oh, I hate when this happens. Breeders' Cup brain. I don't know what it. Oh, Hot Rod Charlie. Off the turn. For a split second, I was like, oh shit, here comes Hot Rod Charlie. And then you said nobody touched Knicks Go. That includes Joel Rosario. You brought that up on Saturday's recap show. Didn't touch Knicks Go. That horse won for fun. Ran a mile and a quarter in under 2 minutes on a track that was pretty deep and slow all summer long. Was geared up a little bit, but very impressive effort there. Final thoughts before we get out of here, Mike. Final thoughts on the Breeders' Cup.
Remember that time we got 3-1 on Knicks Go?
Hey, I set you up. You knocked it down.
No, it was unbelievable performance all around. I mean, Life is Good didn't get touched either. I mean, you had just awesome performances from Aloha West. It was great to see Yabir fly down the lane. Well, not great. It was a nice move to see him fly down the lane. I wish Broom had gotten home, but that's beside the point. Love's Only You is great to see the Japanese contingent get not just 1 but 2. Just it really sucks that Friday race 10 happened because the rest of the weekend was awesome. And there were some awesome performances that we got to see from it. The 3-year-old crop also was exceptional. And hopefully we get to see a lot of them come back at 4. And I think that outside of that terrible juvenile race, which was not good, I think that the other 2-year-olds were impressive as well. So it'll be fun to see them come back.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think this is going to be one of those years where the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Corniche will find his way. Well, I think he'll find his way into the Breeders' Cup, or sorry, the Kentucky Derby. But either he or Papa Cap, who was second and is currently your Kentucky Derby points leader, I think those will be only one of those is going to go to the Kentucky Derby. You're going to have a year where the 3-year-olds, as they're debuting, they'll maybe December at 2-year-olds. But I think we haven't really seen the Kentucky Derby winner run yet.
Maybe. I mean, a couple horses skipped this race too. You have to remember.
That's true.
So we may have seen the Derby winner run and just decide not to run in this spot. Because I don't think the West Coast is very loaded from what we have seen so far. So I would expect right now I would lean toward East Coast horses, even though we just saw Carniche win. I think if Jack Christopher's in that race is night and day different, right? I mean, because then you have pace pressure from the inside.
Yeah.
Instead of having Baffert on the lead with 2 Baffert blockers, literally hip checking. Command Performance is your second choice around the first turn. So I would expect – I'm not impressed with the West Coast group that we've seen so far, put it that way.
I'll agree with you on that, and that's a great way to end things. We'll be looking forward to the Kentucky Derby over at racenews.com coming up, so make sure you check over to the website there. We'll also have free picks up later this week. Again, Dudes Who Bet Sports now 47 minutes away, so make sure you tune into that. When we'll get out of here now so you can go take a bathroom, get a snack, and be ready for that show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb, 18, number 1, number 8. Corporate Overlords at Racing_Dudes. Once more, thank you to everyone who visited the website, watched the videos, interacted with us. We're trying to grow this whole YouTube side here, so thank you to everybody who's helping us with that. If you have things you want to see, if you have advice, input, if you want to tell us that we're just a bunch of dumb idiots babbling on YouTube, just let us know in the comments section. We really appreciate it. We'll be back on Thursday. We're probably going to take a look at Churchill Downs, probably. You want to go to Churchill this weekend?
Well, let me look at the cards.
We'll look at the cards. We'll look at the cards. We'll see what happens.
They're not on the turf, are they?
I don't know yet. We'll look it out. Anyways, follow us on Twitter. We'll let you know what's happening. We'll be back on Thursday. Until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.